So recently I told a story about how I would have customers that used to come to the Subway when I worked there and have me make them a sandwich. And just as I finished their sandwich, they would tell me that it's not what they wanted and oftentimes walk out without the sub or without paying. And boy, did some of you who work in the food industry relate. Now, the only major difference I see between working my job at Subway and say another food place is that at Subway, you literally make the sandwich right in front of the person, ingredient by ingredient. So I'm going to tell you guys about 3 of the times I've experienced customers like this and hopefully show you why it can be frustrating from the perspective of an employee when people ridicule the sandwich that they literally make. So in our first story, I had a lady that came in, and we're going to call her Giselle, honestly, because I don't know what else to call her. I don't even actually know her real name. But Giselle walked into the store and she was pretty happy. I mean, she seemed like a pretty happy-go-lucky person. And so Giselle orders a sandwich, nothing out of the ordinary, but once we got to the vegetables, she realized that one vital ingredient was missing and she was not about to let me live it down. She told me that I forgot to put bacon on the sandwich. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, it's not like a bacon sandwich. Like, you told me the ingredients that go onto the sandwich. This isn't something that's like on our menu. So I was like, that's weird, but whatever. And I told her I could just put the bacon on now and I'll warm it up separately. And she told me, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want the bacon to be like hot and the sandwich isn't hot. And I was just sitting there kind of with a confused look on my face. Like, what difference does it make if it's all going into the same sandwich? But I could understand from this lady's frustration. I mean, honestly, I can't, but I'm just going to let it slide, you know? And so when I offer to make her a different sandwich, she looks down at her watch and says, you know what? I don't have time for this, and just walks out of the store. And she seemed pretty disgruntled, and I just sat there for a good 5 seconds, and I'm like, well, I hope that woman has a better day. But what could I have done? Because she literally told me the sandwich to make. I don't know, maybe I was in the wrong. Maybe somehow it slipped my mind and I like didn't hear that she wanted bacon when she asked for bacon, and like we weren't paying attention. I don't know. No harm intended for Giselle, but at least me and my coworkers got the sandwich to eat, and like, you know, it was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I literally just, you know, could have thrown on the bacon afterwards, but no, it's too hard. Anyways, our second story is about this man that walked into my store, and I'm going to call him Chad, and you'll see why I call him Chad in a couple minutes. So Chad walked into the store and he ordered 2-foot-long sandwiches, and he asked for literally every ingredient on them. I mean, obviously not like all of the meats and cheeses, but he asked for like every vegetable to go on the sandwich. And you know, there's a distinct way that people do this at Subway. Like, somebody will just walk in, and as they're making their sandwich, they'll probably say, let me get everything on it. But the problem is that some people don't think that everything means everything. And when I hear everything, I assume it's all of the greens and the veggies, and also all the things like black olives, pickles, you know, all the peppers, because those are all the vegetables. That to me is everything. Obviously, I'm not going to put on every sauce because that would be psychotic, but you know what I mean. Anyways, Chad asked me to put everything on the sandwich, and I started to reach for the pickles, and Chad stops me and he's like, whoa, 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 what do you think you're doing? And I go, sir, I thought you wanted everything on the sandwich. And he said, huh, pickles. I've never tried that on a sandwich before. And at that moment, he stood there with an epiphany on whether or not he should put pickles on his sandwich because I reached for them. You know, I thought it was an accident. I guess it wasn't an accident, but he said, give me pickles. And this was like the holy moment for him. We bring up his sandwich. He goes to eat it, and he literally tells me that adding pickles to the sandwich was like the best decision he's ever made. And he was so stoked. The man was a bodybuilder and ate like 2-foot-long sandwiches. And I start to have a conversation with this guy, and he actually starts to, you know, convince me into lifting. It was kind of crazy. Like, this guy was kind of an intro for me to actually like realize how beneficial lifting is. And just to make things sweeter, he talked to me about diet as well. And it's crazy because one of the sponsors for this video is one of the ways that I literally lost 20 pounds. I want to tell you guys about Factor, and I know you might be saying, oh my god, it's a brand deal, but I promise this is like a brand that I actually swear by. So Chad tells me the most important thing is to diet and obviously get in the weight room. So I started to get into the weight room, and I started to actually start lifting weights, but my diet was so out of whack. To me, dieting's always been hard, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I didn't really have that many home cooked meals growing up, and when I did, it was always Persian food. And at some point, Persian food isn't the healthiest food in the world, I'm not gonna lie. You know, my mom would kill me actually. I did have homegrown meals growing up, like I had them quite a bit, but I just didn't want to eat Persian food every day. And I also, when I was growing up, like, I wasn't the best chef in the world, so when Factor entered my life and I actually learned about this service, it kind of blew me away. So what Factor is that they're a meal kit service, and their whole philosophy is that if you're too busy running around during the day to think about lunch or to actually cook yourself a meal, these meals are effortless, wholesome meals like grain bowls, salads, whatever, honestly, whatever foods that you could think of, Factor probably has them. They're quick, easy to make, and you literally don't even need to microwave them. I mean, they're completely fresh and they taste just as good to me, not microwave. There's over 34 chef-prepared, dietitian-approved weekly options that promote a healthy lifestyle and feature premium ingredients. Honestly, some of this food is like better than food that I would cook myself. It's kind of crazy. Like, they have chefs literally making these meals for you. And they even have these new Gourmet Plus meals, which are even better than the regular meals. And you could quite literally tell that these are prepared by a chef. You get these meals delivered straight to your door every single week, and they're always fresh and they always taste fresh. And personally, switching to meal plans made it so much easier for me to stick within my goals, because lifting, it was half of the battle for me. I had to figure out the diet aspect, and having these meals just there whenever I was hungry and whenever I needed a quick meal, it completely solved all of that. And I literally didn't ever have to go grocery shopping afterwards anyway. It was pretty miraculous for me. So if you want to try Factor, you could actually go to factor75.com right now, or click the link in the description and use my code Milad50 to get 50% off of your first Factor box. Factor, thank you again so much for sponsoring this video, and I love you guys. Thank you for everything that you do to help people get healthy. And then back to the story. This Chad literally changed my life. So once I started doing the lifting and doing the meal plans, combining that with going to wrestling practice and all these other things, I literally lost so much fat from my body. So to that Chad, I have to say an immense thank you. And story number 3 comes from a regular customer that would always come in last minute before the store closes. Now guys, if you do this, that's okay. I'm there till 9:30, or when I worked there, I would be there till 9:30. But if you're that guy that comes in at 9:29 p.m. and order like 7 sandwiches, I don't know. That's kind of on you. I may have to lock the door a couple minutes early for those. No, I'm kidding. I would never do that. I'll happily smile and make those sandwiches. You guys know that. And this man would never do that, but he would always come in like 5 minutes before closing or 10 minutes before closing. And I think he worked at a local hospital, which probably explains why he's getting food this late. And like, he's probably working a night shift. So God bless that man. We're going to call this man Charlie. Now, Charlie would always be in a big rush. I'm assuming because he had to get to a shift at work, and he would always tell me to make the same thing every single day. And so one day he was in such a rush, and I could see this, that I tried making a sandwich literally as quickly as possible. And to be honest, I kind of wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible too, because it was closing time. And by mistake on the sandwich, I put the wrong type of cheese, and I could have swore I put the wrong sauce on it too, but he never told me if I did or not. And so I make the sandwich, wrap it up, ring it up, and he probably wasn't paying attention at all because he walked out of the store with the sandwich. And as he's walking out, I realized, oh man, I messed up this order. I completely messed up whatever I made for him. And so on my drive home from work that night, that was all I was thinking about. And I realized that the next day I would probably have to face Charlie again if he came back. I almost didn't want to go to work the next day because I didn't want to disappoint Charlie. I mean, Charlie was one of the nicest people I've ever met, and I completely ruined his sandwich order. And so the next day, it gets to around 9:20, which is like 10 minutes before closing, and I'm thinking in my mind, what if Charlie just doesn't come in today? What if I like scared him off? I don't know. It's okay. Hopefully I could avoid this awkward conversation. But lo and behold, just as I'm having that thought, Charlie walks through the door with a gigantic smile on his face. I greet him like normal. I pretend like nothing happened, and he looks at me and he goes, "You did something to the sandwich yesterday." It was all over. In that moment, I thought Charlie was about to completely roast me into oblivion and tell me that my sandwich making skills are awful. But Charlie says to me that it was an incredible sandwich, and he literally asks for another one. And from that day forward, Charlie got that sandwich every time. Now, if that's not the most wholesome thing that you've heard all day, I give up trying. But there's a sad ending to this. I haven't seen Charlie in like probably 4 years now. So Charlie, if you're out there somehow miraculously watching this, I love you. I miss you. If you enjoyed this video, please watch another video and subscribe. Bye. I love you.